Welcome to This is Getting Old, Moving Towards an Age-Friendly World. I'm your host, Melissa Batchelor, and on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about aging parents during holiday visits, 4 things to check for. So a lot of adult children don't live close to their parents, and the holidays can be a good time to visit to make sure that things are as good as they seem through the usual phone calls, or confirm any suspicions you may have had that there is truly a problem. Many of these suspicions may be around whether or not your parent or parents are becoming more forgetful, or if they're becoming more frail, and or if they're not able to keep up with everything independently. Some parents will ask for help if they recognize that they're starting to struggle, but many aging parents will not want anyone to know. So the holidays create a time where we can get together, and it's a great opportunity for adult children to check in and see how their parents are really doing. So here are 4 things to look for during your holiday visit this year that could be a warning sign that you need to dig deeper into what's going on. And I'm going to list them in order of kind of least invasive to more invasive. And keep in mind that you do want to be sure that you respect the dignity, privacy, and autonomy of your loved one. So each of these needs to be investigated from a place of concern, not to undermine your parents. And I realize that can be a pretty thin line. So just listen to your intuition if you suspect a problem, and engage your mom or dad in the process as much as possible. Open communication is typically the best approach. And what you're really looking for is the difference from the last time you saw them. Tip number 1, give them a hug. Some clues that things aren't changing aren't always visible from a distance. So a hug can tell you a little bit more without setting off any alarms that you're concerned. So does this person look like they've lost weight, or even gained weight for that matter, without trying? Do they look different, or do they seem to be not quite as put together as they usually are? This could be very subtle, and it could be as subtle as someone who used to be, a very impeccable dresser, kind of greeting you at the door and looking just a little off. So pay attention to it. Tip number 2, what does the kitchen look like? So my mom has always told me that the kitchen is the heart of the home. So think about what the kitchen has always looked like and compare any differences you may see. Are there multiple items of the same thing in the refrigerator? Is the freezer stocked with frozen dinners or ice cream? Or is a pantry that was always impeccably organized all of a sudden a mess? Number 3, ask about their social life. If your parent or parents have always been socially active, has that changed? And if it has, ask them why. Ask about their hobbies, anything they've always done, and find out if they're still doing them, or find out if they have new hobbies. And do they have friends that they go out with? So ask them about the last time they got together and what they did. And number 4, look for any visible mail. So the mail can offer clues about your parents, about how they're either managing their bills, or if they have been, or if they're being scammed. So do you see a pile of unopened mail? Do you see letters from banks or creditors? Or do you see thank you letters from charities? These are things that you can ask about. So these 4 tips are really just a starting point for a conversation about how things are really going at home. And if anything looks alarming or unsafe, it would be a good idea to find out, when they saw their last primary care provider. Also talk to other people that are close to them. So talking to friends, neighbors, or other family who visit them regularly. These signs could be an indication of a bigger problem, but you need to get other people involved so that you can learn more about any concerns that you have, and definitely don't make any assumptions that there's a memory or a thinking problem. The better you can create a safe space about what's concerning you and listen to those answers, the better off you're going to be. So another thing my mom's always taught me, that you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. So just be kind, observant, and listen. And you can check out some of my other episodes about how to talk to someone you think may have a memory problem, or 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's disease. And the last one that I would recommend would be how Alzheimer's disease is diagnosed. And all these are on my YouTube channel or in the list of episodes if you're listening to this podcast to learn more. Thank you for tuning in to This is Getting Old, Moving Towards an Age-Friendly World. I'm your host, Melissa Batchelor, and if you'd like to learn more, you can check out my other episodes on my YouTube channel by subscribing and ringing the bell to get immediate notifications when new content comes out. In addition, you can also find the audio version of the podcast on Amazon Music, Spotify, iTunes, and Stitcher. Please feel free to leave an honest review, because more reviews mean more awareness of the podcast and helps us move towards an age-friendly world. If you have a comment or a question, you can visit my website, melissabphd.com. Go to the Contact Melissa tab, and you can leave me a voice message. You never know, it might just include your question or your comment in an upcoming episode.